Donald Trump's victory in the 2016 U.S. presidential election was one of the most shocking and consequential political events in modern history. A political outsider with no prior experience in elected office, Trump defied the odds to defeat Hillary Clinton, a seasoned politician and former Secretary of State. His victory sent shockwaves through the political establishment and reshaped the American political landscape. But how did Trump pull off this stunning upset? What were the key factors that led to his victory? In this video, we'll explore the political, social, and economic forces that propelled Donald Trump to the White House, breaking down the strategies, demographics, and cultural shifts that made his win possible. The anti-establishment wave. One of the most significant factors behind Trump's victory was the widespread anti-establishment sentiment that swept across the United States in 2016. After years of economic stagnation, political gridlock, and perceived government incompetence, many Americans were fed up with the status quo. Trump positioned himself as the ultimate outsider, a businessman who could drain the swamp and bring a fresh perspective to Washington. Disillusionment with the political class. Both Democrats and Republicans faced growing distrust from the public. The 2008 financial crisis, the Iraq War, and the perceived failure of the Obama administration to deliver on its promises of change left many voters disillusioned with traditional politicians. The appeal of an outsider. Trump's lack of political experience was seen as an asset rather than a liability. His blunt, unfiltered style resonated with voters who were tired of polished, scripted politicians. He presented himself as a disruptor who could shake up the system and challenge the elites. Economic anxiety and the forgotten men and women. Economic concerns played a central role in Trump's victory. While the U.S. economy had recovered from the Great Recession, many Americans, particularly in rural and industrial areas, felt left behind by globalization and technological change. Trump's message of economic nationalism struck a chord with these voters. The decline of manufacturing. Communities that once thrived on manufacturing jobs were hit hard by outsourcing and automation. Trump's promise to bring back jobs and renegotiate trade deals like NAFTA appealed to blue-collar workers in states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Economic inequality. The growing gap between the wealthy and the working class fueled resentment toward Wall Street and corporate elites. Trump's populist rhetoric tapped into this anger, positioning him as a champion of the forgotten men and women of America. Immigration and cultural backlash. Immigration was a cornerstone of Trump's campaign, and his hardline stance on the issue galvanized a significant portion of the electorate. Many voters were concerned about the cultural and economic impact of immigration, particularly in the wake of the European migrant crisis and rising concerns about terrorism. Build the wall. Trump's promise to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border and make Mexico pay for it became one of his most iconic slogans. It symbolized his commitment to securing the border and cracking down on illegal immigration. Cultural identity. For some voters, Trump's rhetoric about protecting American culture and values resonated deeply. His criticism of political correctness and multiculturalism appealed to those who felt their way of life was under threat. The role of the media. Trump's relationship with the media was unlike that of any previous presidential candidate. While much of the mainstream media was critical of him, Trump leveraged their coverage to his advantage, dominating the news cycle and reaching millions of voters. Free media coverage. Trump's provocative statements and controversial tweets generated endless headlines, giving him unprecedented free media exposure. According to some estimates, he received billions of dollars worth of free coverage during the campaign. Social media mastery. Trump's use of Twitter and other social media platforms allowed him to communicate directly with his supporters, bypassing traditional media gatekeepers. His ability to set the agenda and control the narrative was a key factor in his success. The fake news narrative. Trump's attacks on the mainstream media as fake news resonated with voters who distrusted traditional news outlets. By framing the media as part of the establishment, he reinforced his image as an outsider fighting against the system. The Clinton campaign's missteps. While Trump's campaign was far from flawless, his opponent, Hillary Clinton, made several critical mistakes that contributed to her defeat. Perceived entitlement. Many voters viewed Clinton as a symbol of the political establishment, and her campaign was often criticized for being overly cautious and presumptuous. Her decision to focus on blue wall states like Michigan and Wisconsin backfired when she lost them by narrow margins. Email scandal. The controversy over Clinton's use of a private email server while Secretary of State dogged her throughout the campaign. Trump and his allies seized on the issue, portraying her as corrupt and untrustworthy. Lack of a clear message. Clinton's campaign struggled to articulate a compelling vision for the future. While Trump's message of "Make America Great Again" was simple and powerful, Clinton's platform often seemed muddled and uninspiring. The Rust Belt and the Electoral College. Trump's victory was ultimately secured by his ability to flip key states in the Rust Belt, a region that had traditionally voted Democratic in presidential elections. His focus on economic issues and cultural identity resonated with white, working-class voters in these states. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Trump won these three states by a combined margin of just 77,744 votes, securing his path to the presidency. His victories in these states were fueled by strong support from white, non-college-educated voters. The Electoral College. While Clinton won the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes, Trump's victories in key battleground states gave him a decisive edge in the Electoral College. This highlighted the importance of targeting specific states and demographics in presidential campaigns. The role of key demographics. Trump's coalition of voters was diverse in some ways, but heavily reliant on specific demographics that turned out in large numbers to support him. White working-class voters. Trump's strongest support came from white voters without a college degree, particularly in rural and industrial areas. His message of economic nationalism and cultural conservatism resonated deeply with this group. Rural America. Trump's focus on issues like agriculture, energy, and gun rights helped him dominate in rural areas, where voters felt neglected by the Democratic Party. The impact of voter suppression and Russian interference. While not the sole factors in Trump's victory, voter suppression efforts and Russian interference played a role in shaping the outcome of the election. Voter suppression. In key states like Wisconsin, strict voter ID laws and reduced access to polling places disproportionately affected minority and low-income voters who tended to support Clinton. Russian interference. The Russian government's efforts to influence the election through hacking, disinformation, and social media manipulation were aimed at undermining Clinton and boosting Trump. While the full impact of these efforts is difficult to measure, they likely contributed to the polarized and chaotic environment of the 2016 campaign. Donald Trump's victory in the 2016 election was the result of a perfect storm of factors: a wave of anti-establishment sentiment, economic anxiety, cultural backlash, and a deeply flawed opponent. His ability to tap into the frustrations and fears of millions of Americans, combined with his mastery of media and messaging, allowed him to overcome significant odds and secure the presidency. Whether you view his victory as a triumph of populism or a cautionary tale, there's no denying that it marked a turning point in American politics, one whose effects are still being felt today. What do you think was the most important factor in Trump's 2016 victory? Do you believe his win was inevitable, or could it have been prevented? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of political topics. Thanks for watching.